Live from tape, pre-recorded at our studios in Austin, Texas and Portland, Oregon, it's Syndicated with Lesley and Ben. Hi everyone, I'm the Ben of that.
And I'm the Lesley. This is a twice-monthly podcast about television, genre, and storytelling in which we watch an episode of a show and explore the history of television one episode at a time.
If you're just now tuning in, we're talking about Ugly Betty, the ABC sitcom about a New York high fashion magazine that ran from 2006 to 2010. The show features Betty Suarez, an awkward young adult who has, at least in the episode that we're watching, recently landed a job at the magazine Mode, owned by the far-reaching Mead Publications. Betty's sincerity and naivete clashes against her more cynical and career-oriented coworkers and the expectations of the fast-paced world of commercial fashion.
Ugly Betty was actually adapted from a Columbian soap opera, Yo Soy Betty La Fea. It seems to be a rather loose adaptation, as that show is primarily about Betty and her playboy boss attempting to con the world of high fashion into installing him as the president of Ecomoda. Betty's design, the fashion setting, and the name of the magazine all carry over from the original, but Ugly Betty relies much more heavily on an ensemble cast.
Yeah, you got to look at the poster earlier. You can see how they kind of used like the same, not quite, but
Well,
like sort of the same signifier. She has like a weird haircut.
Awkward haircut, braces, glasses, the whole nine. And what you missed from not seeing the pilot episode, Ben, is that in the pilot episode, when she goes to work for her first day at Mode magazine, she wears a poncho that says Guadalajara on it. It's very garish and it's very out there, and she definitely, that's like fish out of water kind of situation.
Right. Locking that concept down a little harder. I was wondering because at one point someone says like something about a poncho. Later in this episode.
That's what it was referencing.
So it's absolutely an intentional callback. I don't remember why they said a poncho.
I remember
something about eating something.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what the line was, but I do remember when they said that line. I was like, "I'll bet Ben's like, what the fuck?" But I remembered that it's because it's an actual reference to the pilot.
Well, it came out as wildly racist.
It's not racism. It is a callback to an actual poncho that she actually did wear on her first day.
Okay, that clear. I mean, still maybe a little racist, but that does clear it up a little bit. There's some surrounding context that makes that a tiny bit better.
Yeah.
What are we doing? What are we talking about? Oh, Ugly Betty Suarez. But it sounds like it sounds like really like the two characters of that Columbian show are just Betty and her boss.
Yeah, it does seem that way.
Everyone else is like just recurring character status. But no, there aren't like this show has arguably like 6 or 7 main
at least,
characters.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely an ensemble
if
situation.
Not 8 or 9.
Definitely an ensemble situation.
Yeah. Betty Suarez herself is played by America Ferrera. This is, of course, the second show that we've covered this series featuring American Ferrera. As we talked about Superstore earlier this year, I think that actually gives her the designation of being the only person we've talked about
I think so. Like that has
actually
starred in and or been a major part of more than one show that we've gone over. I think so.
When we do our bonus episode for Patreon this season about the Righteous Gemstones, that will no longer be true because Adam Devine is, of course, in Workaholics and Righteous Gemstones. True. But no one else comes to mind who's overlapped.
I'm trying to think, and I just don't think that there is anybody who's directly overlapped in the same way that America Ferrera has. I just think it's funny because we were doing this entire season about workplace comedies, and I love the show, and I was just racking my brain. And which one should I do? Which one? And I was like, meanwhile, Superstore, she's great in this. It just never occurred to me until we actually recorded yesterday when we were discussing the Dick Van Dyke Show, and we were discussing. I won't spoil it for you. You should listen to it if you haven't. But Ugly Betty came up, and I was like, why didn't we watch this one? So.
Yeah, I forgot Superstore was specifically your second staff pick.
It was my second staff pick. Love me some America Ferrera, apparently.
Yeah, but even so, I understand why that wouldn't necessarily occur to you right away, because Ugly Betty and Superstore have wildly
different energies, and the two characters that she portrays could not be more different.
Like if you're pointing your mind in like the direction of like a certain type of niche and energy, it's understandable that you'd be like, yeah, like Office kind of shows, Office-y, Parks and Rec-y kind of shows, like like Superstore, and then you'd completely forget about
Mhm.
Ugly Betty, which is also a workplace comedy, but it's like of a
Yeah, it
different
really
stroke,
is.
so to
It really,
speak.
really is. And talking about the main two characters, Eric Mabius plays Betty's boss, Daniel Mead, who just got placed in power as the editor in chief of Mode by his father following the mysterious death of the previous editor in chief. You may recognize Mabius from appearances on The L Word original recipe, of course, not the. I don't know if it's a remake that they're doing of The L Word. I don't know if it's just an entirely new show that has the same time. I don't know. I don't know anything about it.
That show's from 2004.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Wow, I thought that came out a lot later for some
The
reason.
L word? No, 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 no. The L word is old, which is evident by its rampant biphobia.
Oh, delightful.
Yeah.
Bad, actually. Jesus Christ. Oh boy, I don't like this already. Um, sorry, sorry. I out of curiosity, I was like, oh, I wonder if it is a sequel or a spinoff or whatever. The L Word franchise led to the spin-off reality show The Real L Word. That's hard to say. From 2010 to 2012, as well as the documentary film L Word Mississippi: Hate the Sin.
Yo. Yeah,
That sounds
I deeply hate
real bad.
that. Yeah, I deeply,
Uh,
deeply hate that, Ben. That I
Christ. Both of which aired on Showtime. A sequel television series, This Is What You're Thinking of, The L Word Generation Q,
that's the
debuted
one.
in December of 2019.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. Anyway, he
Uh,
wasn't on that one. He was in the original one for a bit.
yeah,
Yikes.
yeah, thank God.
Yikes on bikes.
Oh, I don't like any of those titles, to be super honest.
None of that is good. Nothing about any of that is good.
Former Miss America Vanessa Williams plays the creative director of Mode magazine. Wilhelmina Slater, a diva and former model that frequently clashes with Daniel Mead and Betty. Williams was the main character of season 7 and 8 of Desperate Housewives, the host of British children's program Mama Mirabelle's Home Movies, and an occasional guest judge on RuPaul's Drag Race,
And she was
keeping
Miss
the fashion
America.
trend going.
And she was Miss America.
I said that.
Yeah, but you didn't know
I
that the
said that.
first time that we recorded this, that she was Miss America. She's Miss America. And I'm just plugging this because it was a really good episode, honestly. She was Miss America in the 90s, and then she famously, or infamously as it is, had to relinquish her crown after some nudie nudes got released of her, and the grand poobah Miss America, whoever the fuck they are, decided they did not like that. And so that is a thing that happened. But the joke was on them because now she's far more famous than any other Miss America has ever been. So
A prolific television career.
yeah, and singing career as well in the '90s. So good stuff. Vanessa Williams, um, Mark St. James, Wilhelmina's assistant, is played by Michael Urie, who appeared on both The Good Wife and The Good Fight. He's also really really into theater. He does a lot of theater work in New York City. Was very vocally supportive of the theater district and the industry during the shutdowns at the beginning of all of that mess in New York. And most importantly, one time he retweeted me. It's pretty cool. It's pretty dope.
Ooh la
I
la.
know. And Amanda Tannen is played by Becky Newton, who is also a recurring character on How I Met Your Mother.
Barney's love interest in season 7, I believe.
Yes. And I actually watched Ugly Betty after I had seen How I Met Your Mother, and so I recognized her. It's the other way around. I was like, "That's the lady from How I Met Your Mother," because what is chronology?
Exactly. I don't remember a single goddamn thing about How I Met Your Mother. I watched it over the course of one weekend in college while I had the flu. The laptop was just kind of propped up on my chest as I laid horizontal, groaning in pain.
Woof.
So I don't remember a single episode of that show.
Yeah, that doesn't sound
All I
fun.
know is that Neil Patrick Harris loves high fives on that program.
That is true. Lots of different types of fives that he creates, which Scrubs did at first. It's fine, whatever. But it was still a good time for the first 8 seasons. Don't watch the ninth season.
CBS sitcoms are derivative. Is that what you're saying?
Maybe I might be saying that.
CBS, call us. We have a pitch. Don't know. God, I wish I did. Tony Plano plays Betty's father, Ignacio Suarez, a chronically ill man who in this season is dodging calls from a health insurance office over his identity. Tony Plano is the voice of Manuel Calavera in Grim Fandango,
Grim
a
Fandango.
favorite video game A favorite video game of both mine and
I
Leslie's.
love that game.
As do I. I've actually only beaten about. I don't think I've actually gotten to the end. In all the years I've attempted to play it, because I'm not great at point and clicks when I'm not streaming them
Yeah,
purposely.
I was about to ask,
Uh,
are you not gonna pick this one up?
yeah, folks, if you don't know, every Wednesday I stream with my friend Glory Duda over at our Infinity Breaks Twitch, rather, twitch.tv/Infinity Break Gaming. We have a series called To the Point and Click, in which we play point and click adventure games. And while we are currently on one of the Monkey Island games,
Yeah.
I know the Grim Fandango is coming down the line. I'm actually Here's the thing: I'm not great at point and click adventure games when I'm not streaming them, because then I get then I cheat and I get anxious about cheating.
Oh, Ben. Oh,
Because but when I'm streaming it, then all of a sudden I have to, like, I gotta do it
yeah,
and I gotta solve it correctly.
yeah,
There's more pressure, and other people can see me as I mess up.
very true.
So looking forward to finally finishing that game. But anyway, that's a fantastic performance as Manny in that show. Excuse me, on that game. On
Yeah,
that game. Wow, said it wrong twice.
on that in the game with the stuff.
Lastly, Kevin Sussman plays Betty's ex-boyfriend Walter. You may recognize Sussman from his recurring role on The Big Bang Theory.
If you watch that show, which I don't, but kind of spoiler alert, I guess. But he doesn't last very long on the show. I guess Big Bang Theory and this show definitely must have overlapped because this show came out in '06, I think. So yeah, that's probably why.
Yeah. Because oh yeah, I mean, later seasons of this would have overlapped with, Big Bang Theory hitting kind of its, like, second premise.
Ah, it
Um,
has more than one
because
premise.
the initial premise was that, like, they're all losers and only one of them has a girlfriend, and then, like,
Sure.
halfway through that dynamic changed, and then they all had girlfriends,
Okay.
including that's I know it's I mean
Okay.
it's a bad premise, and it's a bad show, and it's deeply misogynistic.
Yeah, there's a lot wrong
Um,
with it. That's for sure.
that's for sure. Um, but anyway, that's like the second act of the show, and I think that overlaps with, like, the tail end of this show. Um, that being said, God, bonkers that show was on air for as long as it was.
So long.
Truly
So
a
long.
crime against humanity.
It was really. Is it? It's not still on, is it?
No, it ended it. I think it ended in 2018.
Way too long. It took.
But, like,
It took way too long.
holy shit. Okay. It premiered on CBS on September 24th, 2007, and concluded on May 16th, 2019.
Ugh.
12 fucking
That's too many
seasons
seasons of
of
Big Bang Theory.
fucking Bazinga and Leonard bullshit.
Ugh.
And then they gave that fucker a second show.
Oh, the Young Sheldon show? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remain mad at that. I think it's
It's
such a bad
I'm
premise.
gonna die mad at that, to be honest with you.
It looks. I think we talked about this during a Forces and Men or something when it got announced the first time around. But, like, if the fucking prequel show looks like a fucking period piece, but it can't possibly be, because the first one's set in the modern day. But that little dweeb dresses like he's from the 50s.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we've actually talked about our mutual hatred of Young Sheldon a few times in
yeah.
our history together.
In our long podcasting history. Last but not least, the episode that we watched today was Faye's Sleigh Ride. At an industry mixer in October, Betty Suarez accidentally divulges the plan for Mode's holiday cover spread to a competitor at a rival fashion magazine. When an inquisition fires up at work to find out who leaked company secrets, Betty finds out that she might not be the only one who gabbed to the competition, as her co-workers Amanda Tannen and Mark St. James might be equally guilty. On top of all of that, Daniel Meade, Betty's boss, is uncovering secrets about his father's relationship to the former editor-in-chief of Mode magazine. All of this while fake snowfall is drifting from the rafters of this weird, impossible building. So, Lesley, what's up with Ugly Betty?
Yeah, Ugly Betty, man. Honestly, the reason why I chose Ugly Betty was it's kind of twofold. So the first reason I chose it was because we were just discussing the Dick Van Dyke Show yesterday. In fact, welcome to the magic of being behind the scenes of this, and it got brought up for reasons that we'll get into. But I thought,
And reasons I don't immediately remember, so it's fine.
well, I remember them, but I was like, well, yeah, why haven't we done this? I love this show, and it is a workplace comedy, and We should definitely do it. The way that I got into Ugly Betty actually was I went to Austin Television Festival one year, which I've talked about so many times on this podcast already. And I went one year, and every year they try and have like a really big showcase, like a cast reunion from some big time show. And it's usually like a 10-year reunion or what have you. And yeah, I guess this must have been in 2016 then, because it was the 10-year reunion of Ugly Betty. And I went
Sure.
and I watched the panel, but I'd never seen the show. But watching the panel and watching how the cast discussed the show and what an impact it had on them made me want to watch the show. So I got home from that weekend and I fired it up and I binged it over a couple weeks, and I've loved it ever since. Warts
Hell
and
yeah. Yeah,
all.
no, it sounds like they all had quite a positive experience making this. I think it was a Michael Urie interview that I half read that said that he was like still in touch with everyone and that everyone would happily keep making more of it if they were able.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know how recent that was, but I hope that sentiment continued.
Well, I know that at least as of 2016, they were all very friendly. So at Austin Television
Right, sure.
Festival, also, after the festival is over, they usually have like a party for industry folks, and not for lay people. And it's on the Saturday night. And every year I crash it. And so this year in 2016, I crashed it, and I ended up getting to talk extensively with pretty much everybody that we just discussed. And it was a really cool time. Not gonna lie.
Okay. All right. Welcome to our new segment of the show, Leslie's Celebrity Corner. Uh, who's cool?
Yeah, yeah. It was really cool.
No, that was a question. Who is
Oh,
cool?
who is cool?
Hmm.
Tony Plana obviously is really, really cool. Uh, America Ferrera was super, super nice. Anna Ortiz, who plays Betty's sister,
Right.
actually was my favorite because she kept bumming smokes for me and was like getting a little tipsy and was very nice, just super, super nice, just having a great time, just super thrilled to be there. Yeah.
Your confidence startles me.
Well, I don't know what.
Because I see celebrities and I run. I flee for the hills.
Well, that's why
You're
I was
just like,
there.
I'll at whoever I want.
I'll at whoever I want. Don't you at me? I'll at you.
Oh my god. um, yeah, I don't. This show is new to me. This is like your kind of your staff pick, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
Your choice, your suggestion.
Sure.
I don't know anything about this at all. All I know is what I read before I started writing the script in front of me, and the episode that we watched, which is again, I don't think we actually mention. We actually usually don't mention where in the show we watch the episodes. This is season 1, episode 4. Um, so fairly early on. Obviously, I don't need to explain that to you. That's the incredible amounts of insight you get from Syndicated.
Yep. Yep.
So that we sometimes say the 4th episode is early in the show. No, but like this is like all I know about it, and all I know is that it was like a smash hit on ABC for like 4 years, or at least it seemed that way when I was a child.
Yeah. Like I said, I didn't watch it when it was airing, so I'd
Mhm.
heard about it, of course, but for some reason at the time, the description just didn't really grab me. Um, but once I watched it, well, one thing that you kind of have to understand about this about this show is that it is this is how it came up in conversation while we were discussing the Dick Van Dyke Show, because I was talking about watching breakthrough television through the lens of it being also very regressive, and then Rachel had pointed out that there is questionable and problematic stuff that exists in TV up until about 10 years ago. And that's when I said, like an Ugly Betty, because there, for all of the great things about the show that I
Right,
deeply, deeply,
right.
deeply love, there are definitely some things that I'm like, y'all, this is definitely a
Yeah, I
product of
mean,
2006.
the title alone, I know that was my reaction. Look, this show came out when I was 12, and it ended when I turned, I guess, 16. Um, but I remember like my reaction to the time that I was little goody two shoes, and I was like, "Ugly Betty, that's mean. That's so mean spirited. Why would they do that?"
Why would they call her
Um,
that?
except, well, I mean, honestly, also because look, I wasn't a hunk at 12. Um,
Speak for
you know,
yourself.
I was. Um, and also, frankly, it would be weird if I spoke about you
That would be kind of weird,
like that.
especially 12-year-old
Um,
me. That's doubly weird.
that's
Let's
no, that's what I'm saying,
let's
which is why I was speaking for
let's
myself.
bring this back into the green and go back to talk about
Um,
Ugly Betty.
no, what I'm getting at is like as a dweeby little victim of bullying, at like 12 years old or whatever, I saw like that's the title or whatever, and I was like, oh, that's so mean. Why would look at this culture of cruelty or whatever.
Sure, sure.
And I didn't watch it or whatever because I was 12. Um, anyway, little did I know, Ugly Betty isn't even the worst of it
Oh, not at
because there's
all.
Fat Karen or
Fat,
whoever,
fat,
Fat
fat
Carol or
Carol,
whatever.
Fat Carol. Yeah, is
Other one, yeah.
yeah. But I do think something that's important to understand is that this is textbook one of those situations in which these are not good characters. They are not nice people. You should not be taking what they're saying as a societal normal way of looking at the world. And that actually
Of
is
course not.
kind of the conceit behind the entire concept of Ugly Betty to begin with, is that she's really pretty, she's normal, but the fashion world is insane with being shallow and insane with uh, surface things, and so that's a huge important part of it.
First impressions and appearances and networking
You
and
know that
you
blah
know
blah blah.
right. Oh, those are 2-year-old shoes. Kind of literally, that's a
That
line
is
from
a
this
line from this
episode.
episode.
Um,
2-year-old shoes. Even I didn't notice that. So yeah,
it's weird, and it made me think about like, okay, fashion is, and I guess always will be by its nature, elitist.
sure.
But there's been a recent trend. Um, I think influencers have changed that in such a way. Not that the fashion's any less elitist. Excuse me. Not that the fashion itself is any less elitist. Obviously, it's still about exclusivity and fitting to certain standards and all that.
Sure.
But like, it's definitely, I think, kind of clear watching this how much like the marketing push has been like changed from like, look how exclusive this is, to like Instagram influencers being like, look how relatable we are.
Yeah, it's
You
so
know,
interesting.
you can look like this too,
Yeah,
etc.
yeah, yeah. And it used to
Um,
be, oh, do
whereas
you
it
even
feels like
deserve to
the
look like this? Yeah.
Mhm. And now it's like, actually, I got this for only $150, and if you use my Amazon associate link,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
um, it's just like that. That was just I don't know, because like fashion to me, as like in my adult world, knowing full well that I turned an adult at like 2012
Mhm.
or whatever,
Sure.
um, that means magazines don't exist in my adult world.
Sure.
I certainly subscribed to some when I was a youth, and there were magazines around the house when I was a youth or whatever.
Yeah.
But it does not mean uh, you know centerfold like cover spreads, and it doesn't mean this. It means people with like suspiciously rich looking Instagram accounts.
See, I remember magazines. I remember this. I definitely this is one of those times where that 10 years there is so crucial between your experience and my experience. Is I absolutely
Because the
remember.
death of a medium happened between our
It sure did. It
childhoods.
sure did. But yeah, I definitely remember magazines. Just, it's crazy, just bananas. Anyway, that's why Ugly Betty.
Yeah. Oh, right, of course. Yeah, I mean, I remember magazines too. I just want to be clear that that's like, it's just not like the focus of how fashion markets itself anymore,
Sure. Which
necessarily.
actually I've never really thought of it this way, but I guess this would be a really interesting show for people to watch who are, there are people, Ben, who can drink now, who were born in the year 2000. Like, they have no idea what any of this is. Like, they don't know what a holiday spread is. They don't know what a magazine is. They don't know what any of this shit is. And so I do wonder, like, how much closer we're getting to this being kind of similar in experience while watching as Dick Van Dyke was for me, for example. Just because
Sure,
this is a
sure.
completely, this is a window into a different era.
Well, even I mean, even like between when the Larry Sanders Show came out and now,
Mhm.
like late night has just so drastically changed.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, uh, Jimmy Fallon or whatever is not trying to be like Johnny Carson.
that is very
Like,
true. Yeah, he
um,
doesn't have like a lot of
uh,
bits this in the same way that Johnny Carson had bits. Like I feel like now it's much more focused on guests and like the guests are the main focus more so than the host to the point that when Jimmy Fallon does kind of step in too much, people criticize him for it now. But like that was like, that was Johnny Carson's whole thing. That was Ed Sullivan's whole thing. That was David Letterman's whole thing, but it's just evolved to
mhm,
such a point now where people don't give a fuck about the host anymore. We're not watching for you. Shut the fuck up. I want to see Jack
right,
Black on here.
exactly.
That's
It's
what it's about.
it's guess and games.
Yes.
It's the fact that it's a little more game showy or whatever. Like there was an observation made, and I promise this is all relevant still. There was an observation made when Joker came out, the 2019
Right.
Joker, that Robert De Niro is playing like a kind of like a Carson type, like kind of a curmudgeony, um, yada yada yada,
Hmm.
and like there was a disconnect where people were not recognizing like this guy would be like a weird younger people would be like this guy would be a weird late night host,
Uh,
uh, and people were realizing like, oh my god, because you think late night hosts are like Jimmy Fallon,
right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and I need you to know that for 40 years they were like this grumpy old dude.
Yeah. Yeah. I just always find this stuff so fascinating, which is why I love going
Um,
through these shows with you.
yeah, folks, I promise you, late night hosts used to be grumpy 40-year
It was
olds.
crazy. It was crazy. And I don't know why we used to enjoy
Um,
watching that. You know what?
Curmudgeons are funny.
What am I saying? Like, we currently watch shit like, Love is Blind and The Masked Singer and whatever the fuck. I don't know. So whatever. Although,
Yeah, I'll take.
yeah, yeah, I'll take weird
But
talk shows, I guess, at night.
it's just kind of funny because like obviously we talk about, especially in comedy, we talk about like, oh, this didn't like oh, this ages or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that concept is getting unfortunately narrowed down to language and politics and I guess political correctness and whatnot.
Hmm.
When like I mean we've talked about a number of shows that are about like that are firmly set in the year that they came out in,
Hmm.
and it's not because they told off-color jokes. It's because like in Larry Sanders and Ugly Betty or whatever, like the industry that it's about is largely not is either drastically changed or is just not around anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Certainly, a mash about the Iraq War would be less fun.
That is very true. That's very true.
Um, yeah, no, but just things change, things update, um, and an office sitcom, not The Office, but an office-ish
Sure.
sitcom set now and set 20 years ago, drastically different.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it's part of it though is the way that some of the subject matter is handled. I will say
Of course,
this
yeah.
episode does not have any of that in it because it was way too early in the series, and I spared you from that. But there is
I was wondering about
yeah,
that.
there is
Yeah.
definitely an incredibly questionable plot line. But the interesting thing about it is that I don't really know how to explain, well, the elephant in the room of Ugly Betty, which is that there is a trans woman character who is part of the main ensemble once she comes on the scene, which is later on in the season, later on in the first season. But it's odd because it's as if, how do I even explain this? It's like it's kind of like when your grandparents first find out, about trans people and they want to be great allies, but they're grandparents and they don't know what to do exactly, and
Uh
so
huh.
they don't get it right really at all. So it was kind of a weird double-edged sword in that, it was kind of really the only positive mainstream trans representation that had existed up to that point. Uh, and yet, it still had quite a few problems with how it handled a lot of its subject matter. Not to mention the fact that the character was portrayed by just a very tall cis woman.
hmm what character is this, by the way?
Alexis, her name is Alexis Mead.
Uh, So played by Mystique.
Yeah, played by Rebecca Romijn. Yep. Who I also got to meet because she was there for the thingy.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah.
Former model herself, if I
It
remember
is
correctly.
true. She is also formerly married to John Stamos for some reason.
Oh, well, we all make our
Mm.
mistakes. Yeah, no, that's yeah, the well-meaningness is a little weird, but like I don't know, contrast that with 30 Rock where like it's all kind of mean-spirited.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's kind of the thing is they, as part of the Mead family and as later on, spoiler alert, a kind of a part owner sort of situation with Mode Magazine, Alexis is just as cutthroat as Daniel or Wilhelmina or what have you. Like they all kind of have their own thing going on where they're all catty, but a lot of the cattiness directed towards Alexis is, about her being trans. So that was, real gross and icky. But again,
Right.
it was so interesting, especially to watch that panel where they discussed it because they acknowledged that it was a very, uh, in hindsight, problematic way to approach it, but that they were still proud of what they had done for the time, which I kind of understand considering what else was in mainstream media for
Right, right. The alternatives were worse, I guess.
yeah, yeah. So, it's exactly like I said when we were discussing the Dick Van Dyke shows. I guess you just got to crawl before you can walk in some cases.
Mhm. A line that I had like in the chamber but didn't actually say during the previous episode was that like groundbreaking is a messy like it's a messy process, literally.
Yeah, yeah,
Um and it doesn't always turn out great, and sometimes it comes across deeply mean spirited in
yeah,
retrospect.
yeah.
Um, I can't comment on that directly because I am well, one because I'm cis, but also because I have not seen the episodes that you're talking about. Um, I can only theorize based off of what you've told me. And anyway, it sounds like I don't know. Alternatives were worse.
Yeah, it is true. And I mean the character of Alexis as a character, as a human being, as a person, was treated with respect. Alexis was not treated with respect by her catty coworkers, as she didn't treat them with respect either. It was just unfortunate that the route that they went was the low hanging fruit, very obvious one,
Totally, totally.
Yeah.
What is it about our early 2000s that are like defined by that kind of like snark? Is it Mean Girls? Did Mean Girls make this happen? Like,
I don't think it was Mean Girls. I think that that is an excellent question that I don't actually have the answer to. But if I were forced to kind of spitball something and just sort of figure it out myself, I would say that I think it probably has to do with the internet and social media just starting to become a big thing in the form of MySpace and then later Facebook once it was open to everybody and not just college students. I think that I
mhm.
think that social media in general has changed how we communicate with each other and how we communicate with the outside world. And I could tell, like, I could go on about this for a while, but I won't. But what I will say is that I think the thing with the early 2000s, it is directly tied to social media, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, sorry. I guess I should revise my statement. I don't mean that Mean Girls caused that social environment. I just mean like Devil Wears Prada, like Mean Girls, like that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Just like exemplified this level of like I don't know how to phrase it other than just like mean spirited, like elitism.
Yeah, and
Like,
well, and there was
ooh,
Clueless before that, which well,
yeah,
but
even
that
so.
wasn't as mean spirited. That was a little more wholesome, actually. Now that I think about it,
Yeah.
but
I'm not saying either of those movies are bad, by the way. I just mean like prominent characters that are like
sure, sure,
high school bullies,
sure,
but
sure,
adults.
yeah.
I mean, I know they're high schoolers and Mean Girls, but you know what I
I
mean.
do know, I do know what you mean. I do. Yeah, I don't know.
um, so,
I was just gonna say,
something in the 2000s
yeah, the
popularized high
2000s
school bullies as main
were an
characters.
odd time for that. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a time in which bullies were kind of almost portrayed as being sort of cool for bull. I don't know. Like I don't really quite get the vibe.
It's a weird time period. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah. Well, we lived through it.
But like, I mean, no, yeah, we did
We
live through
made
it.
it.
I mean, obviously, there's a very direct connection here, but like, a little bit of that like is still in like 30 Rock and whatnot.
Hmm.
Like, The Office is full of it.
Yeah.
I think there's like no greater contrast between those two ideas than like the difference between The Office and Parks and Rec or whatever. Like that's the transition point.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. I hadn't considered that, but yeah, you're right. The Office and Parks and Rec
Yeah, it's
are
just
very similar, but they have this one key thing that makes them very different. And I have watched enough of Parks and Rec to know that, so don't at me. But yeah, Parks and Rec is a kinder show because I think that it was in that there was a transition that happened between the two in the mid two
yeah,
thousands.
very odd. Yeah, it was a dark time for
So
everyone.
weird.
Just yeah, weird, out of place.
Yeah.
Um, Tell me about this plot involving an affair.
Yeah. So it's very complicated, Ben, because it's
Oh, good.
like I said, it's Ugly Betty is obviously borrowing very heavily from the telenovelas from which it was inspired, in that it has just a bunch of bonkers plots. Like the whole Alexis plot is super bonkers. And the thing with the affair is also bonkers. Like you find out later that, sorry Ben, spoiler alert, still a fun show, but you find out later that the assistant Amanda is actually the like Faye's daughter, and like from yeah, because she finds a birth certificate in like some sex dungeon thing that's hidden in the office, and like yeah, it's a whole shebang. And the Alexis storyline is bananas because so it was like uh Daniel and his dad both thought that his brother Alex had died in some car accident, but no, it was actually that Alex went and moved away for a while and went ahead and lived her dream and comes back and is like, my name is Alexis and I own half this company because I didn't die in a car crash. I'm just a woman. And so it's a lot. There's a lot going on in the show.
Right. Yeah. I guess that is kind of borrowed from Spanish
I
soap
told
operas and
you,
all that.
told you.
Um, no, you're right. Of course, that makes a ton of sense. I anticipate that that's going to be like a little bit of a problem as we move on to more narrative work. Um, Not with this season, and probably not with the next season. But when we get around to like prestige dramas or
Right, right.
crime or anything like that, that we're eventually going to have to pick random episodes in the middle of
All
like
of
long
this.
running
All
television
Yeah,
shows,
yeah.
or we'll be assigned random episodes from like Breaking Bad or whatever,
Sure.
and just be all of a sudden like, oh shit, he's got a gun. Why?
Why?
And also, who is
Yeah,
he?
who is this guy? Why does he have a gun? Yeah, I guess. Although I guess I would imagine if we're going to do Breaking Bad, the obvious choice of episode would be that one where they're stuck inside and trying to fly one. Uh, that's like a
Oh yeah,
that's
yeah,
a
that was
bottle
so
episode, which
fantastic.
I think would be a good choice. But otherwise, yes, you'd be like, who is Skylar talking to now? I don't know who this guy is. I don't understand what's going on. So it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be fun, and this is kind of a little bit of training for you for this,
Taste of
just a
that,
little
yeah.
taste of that, because I would like to reiterate, I chose the fourth episode of the entire show. So there shouldn't be,
And I'm
and you're
already
already
lost.
lost. Like there shouldn't be an awful lot that happened so much so in the first three episodes that you're like, I don't understand. And yet,
You're telling me there's gold to these hills? Um,
why? Why is there,
and
why is there gold all of a sudden
who put it? Who put it there?
in the
Yeah,
office
which honestly,
bathroom?
which is why I think it was honestly kind of smart of us to start with television that is largely single episode
Sure,
isolated
sure.
stories.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, because if we hopped right into narrative, it would be a lot of us just being confused.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, there's a degree of no, but obviously I like how that information is shown. I can see how that's part of like a long running seasons long story.
Yeah,
Um, there's like this weird degree. We talked about the Impossible Office uh, earlier.
sure.
There's like a degree of like hyper stylization in the way that this place looks.
Hmm.
Um, I almost want to say it's got that Apple Store chic look, but the thing is, this predates the modern Apple Store
It
look,
does. It does. You're right.
which I think is a late 2000s thing. So if it predates it, it only predates it by like 2 years.
Yeah.
Because 2006, iPhone had not come
It
out
had
yet.
not. It came out in 2007.
Exactly. So like the modern look of the Apple Store did not
It did
exist
not.
yet. But even so, like between like the kind of like bright white light kind of thing,
Yeah.
like those horizontal neon bars,
I
um,
feel like that's kind of always
the
existed in the fashion. Like when you think of media representation of what the fashion world is, it always kind of seems to go this way, like bright and lots of light spotlights and track lighting and geometric shapes, and everything has to be very clean and modern. And
I mean, quite literally, because skin looks bad under fluorescent.
yeah, exactly. So that's, I think that that's just a conceit of being in the fashion world, man. It's fashion.
Totally. But there was like a swath of like these shows with like this kind of weird look for a while. And for some reason, all I can think about right now is Pushing Daisies,
Mm.
but like of just like weird, like kind of stylized environments that doesn't look like anyone would like naturally live and work in.
You know, there is a show that came
And
out
I'm
recently.
blanking for other
Well,
ones.
there's a show that came
Oh,
out recently that does the exact same thing, and I have not seen it in a show in the recently. So I was very surprised. There's a show called AP Bio. You may have heard of it. That has Patton Oswalt, Glenn Howerton.
watched 2 seasons
So
of
you
it.
know what I'm talking about? The aesthetic, like the weird kind of pastels and like the blue and pink, and just
Yes.
the way that the whole thing is shot. I think like I found myself as I was watching it just struck by it aesthetically, and I was like, shows don't really do this anymore because shows try and be, especially prestige shows, try and be as like realistic, quote unquote, as possible. Um, Whereas this just seems like it's in some fantasy land, and I love it. So anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, like in AP Bio, like walls are a little too bright.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And then like you notice that
I
you
do.
notice that the blackboard's there because first of all it's a blackboard, and then it's like this very specific greeny color, and it's like I really like that show. I really like that show's palette, which I can't say about a lot of shows,
Yeah,
but yeah,
not not to necessarily get into like simulacrum and all that kind of stuff, or real worlds that are too real to be, or fake worlds that are too real to be the real world, or anything like
sure.
that. But like that is prominent. Like I do kind of like shows that do that. Again, Pushing Daisies, the
Mm.
this AP
To a
Bio.
degree, Desperate
For the
Housewives did it.
I was literally about to say Desperate Housewives, because it's like a hyper stylized like suburb
Hmm.
that doesn't exist.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh, obviously, Gilmore Girls is a huge example of this.
oh, of course, of course, of course. Um, yeah, a huge like swath of those kind of
Sure.
shows. Also, the way it's shot, like there's one point where they're all sitting around, I guess Ignacio's dining room table,
Hmm.
um, as the three of them are talking about like whether or not they're going to come clean on this issue, and for whatever reason, they're all shot probably to get kind of like a suspicious anxiety thing.
Yeah.
They are all shot center
Uh huh.
frame, lower angle looking up.
Yes, yes. I was
Um,
appreciating that actively as I was rewatching it for the
and look, we
tension.
just talked about for the tension. We just talked about Dick Van Dyke with Rachel, where like almost everything is shot wide.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's wide or two shot, and like it follows the very specific beat of when it does do a close up. It follows a very specific beat of like setup setup punchline close up reaction shot,
Mm.
setup punchline close up reaction shot, or something like
Yeah.
that. Whereas it was very interesting to watch like it get a little experimental with the camera, like tracking shots through the office, kind of distorted close ups. Um, Obviously, scenes that are meant to be entirely in
Mm.
silhouette.
Yeah.
Um, Whenever who's the Mead guy who owns everything, actual Papa
Papa
Mead.
Mead. I don't even remember his first name. Papa Mead.
Yeah. Um, anyway, like when he's meeting with like someone over the music box, it's all like in silhouette,
Mm.
shot like a noir.
Yeah.
Not because it's silhouette, but like anyway, just the way it's framed and all
Yeah.
that.
Well, and obviously the
It was
mystery woman
interesting.
whose face is covered on the phone with Wilhelmina as well. Which, spoiler alert, sorry Ben for the huge. That's Alexis. That's who that is. So, and the whole
Ah,
reason why it's this big, you don't know who she is because the only thing that you've heard, and I think that there was even a passing mention of it in this episode, was about Daniel's late brother Alex. So, like,
gotcha.
yeah, yeah,
Anyway, yeah, just nice to see a show take some visual risks.
yeah. Another thing that I kind of want to say about the general aesthetic of this show is in later seasons, as Betty becomes more confident and more skilled and more experienced at her job, her wardrobe becomes a thing of absolute beauty because
I was wondering.
she is
Yeah,
dressing in these outfits that are very loud and patterns all the time, and like uh solid purple stockings with yellow pumps, and like just and just incredible outfits, because they're nothing like the, how do you put, streamlined or clean or what have you outfits that everybody else wears at Mode. She still maintains her personality, but the way that like I remember watching the later seasons and being like, I do not enjoy fashion. I am not good at it. I am a t-shirt and yoga pants kind of person, but I like was inspired by her clothing choices when I was watching the later seasons, because it is truly, I love Betty's outfits in the later seasons. Just going to throw that out there.
and I know I'll be saying virtually the same thing when we get around to talking about the Righteous
Mm,
Gemstones,
mm.
uh, as I texted you last
Yeah,
night.
yeah.
No, relatable. I am currently wearing a T-shirt that is just a picture of my friend's dog,
That's awesome. That's awesome.
and bright pink board shorts.
Very cool.
So yeah, no, I'm also not very fashionable myself.
Hey, it'd be like that, man. But
Yeah.
I do love her outfits, and I don't know. There's a lot about this show that I do appreciate, and a lot of some of the groundbreaking that they were doing, or pushing the envelope that they were doing, was actually good. I'm sure that you probably picked up on the fact that Betty's nephew is very clearly gay. Um,
What?
yeah, I know, shocker, I know. But that becomes later on an entire, that is a whole storyline and plot point, and they are actually building the foundation for that in this episode, and throughout the first season as well. Uh,
Delightful.
yeah, yeah. So, and I really thought that that was handled very respectfully and very well. And the actor actually spoke on it when he was at the reunion panel at ATX Festival, and he was talking about how impactful it was for him to be able to do this storyline, this plot line, because he was, he's a gay man himself, and how interesting it was for him to,
Oh,
yeah, for him
huh.
to like come to terms with his own sexual orientation through the lens of this character that he was also playing. So it was, I think that's really cool.
Totally, absolutely. Um, Damn, good for him. They got. I don't want to sound like I'm being dismissive, but hey, they got something right.
Yeah, they really did. So they were the things that they got right. They really got right. Uh, some things they stumbled over, but it's like you said, groundbreaking is literally a very messy enterprise. So
Oh, damn, he's my age.
yeah, yeah. His name is Mark Indelicato, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, born like 5 months after me.
Wow.
Um, yeah,
Oh, that means
cool. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. He does look like 10
I
in
was about to
this.
say that means that you were his age when this came out. Oh, you were a little baby.
Yeah, I
Oh.
was a little baby.
Okay.
That's me.
Yeah.
Leslie, do you have a favorite joke from this one?
I was trying to think of what my favorite joke might be. It's kind of hard because of the fact that there is so much plot telenovela stuff going on, and a lot of the jokes are, mean spirited and not necessarily even meant to be laughed at, but more meant to be like, wow, these people are terrible. But I do think that
Sure.
the joke that I did like the most was when Ignacio was trying to steal the caffeine, like the coffee from the boyfriend, and he kept sending him off to do
Hmm.
various tasks around the house so he could just like take a sip of his coffee every time. That was played really, really,
Yeah, that was good.
yeah.
I think I'm kind of in the similar boat because it doesn't seem like there were a lot of like
There are a lot of yucks in it.
quotable. Yeah, not a lot of quotable punchlines in the same way.
Yeah.
Um, that there was like a lot of physical comedy and like there's like, boy, how do I explain this? The atmosphere of humor, but not explicit jokes.
Yeah.
Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
definitely. Definitely.
We're like, oh, everyone's like obviously playing it playing it to the roof, like,
Mm-hmm.
with like absurdity, but there aren't a lot of like quotable
Right.
jokes in the same
Yeah,
way.
I agree with you.
Um, uh, a movie that I like that does that is the Russell Crowe and other guy. Oh my god,
Yeah, the other guy,
Ryan Gosling.
Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling, were
um,
in a movie together.
right, hold on.
Today I learned.
Yeah, okay. The Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling movie, Nice Guys,
Oh
um,
yeah.
which has a lot of like it's a lot of like incredible physical comedy between the two of them, but I couldn't necessarily quote a single joke to you.
Right.
Um, I mean, I can, but there's like 10.
Yeah.
Like because so much of it is just like what they say it funny, but it's not necessarily funny itself,
Mm-hmm.
or just like incredible physical comedy as they like fight each other through like a bathroom door,
Right.
or or whatever else, or just visual gags or whatnot. But like, unless you've seen it, I can't like
Yeah,
necessarily
I
quote
haven't seen
specific
it. I'd
jokes
never
at
even
you.
heard.
You know what I
I'd
mean?
never even thought about it until now. So
You should watch it. It's
I
fun.
maybe I will.
Um, but kind of a similar thing. Like, there's the atmosphere of humor, but not a lot of like setup punchline
Yeah.
jokes. Um, anyway, so yeah, no, I liked the coffee scene.
Yeah, that was good. That was a good one.
uh,
Also, I do have to
but
say that the Beauty and the Beast scene at the end was quite funny. I did laugh at that.
oh, my muscles tensed up. I cringed through all of that.
It was very cringy, but I did laugh.
Well, the second I realized what was happening, so like whatever the second line of that
Yeah,
song, like I felt my spine
but she
condense.
liked it.
Like, good for her. However, all right, folks, you can find me online at Ben C. Hamlin. That is BenChamlin over on Twitter.com. You can follow me on Instagram too. I don't care. Um, don't post there much. You can check out all of our work at infinitybreak.net, including my other show, which is the paranormal horror podcast that I do with my friends Maddie and Ezra. In addition to that, since I mentioned it, I think for the first time on this show, twitch.tv/Infinity Break Gaming. I actually stream video games quite frequently, including our point and click series. So if you want to see me and Glory play Grim Fandango,
Grim
go check that out.
Fandango. I'm definitely going to be checking that out. That sounds dope.
Yeah, I will absolutely text you when we start that series. Again, we're finishing up Monkey Island right now, and then we have like a spy game that we're working our way through.
Nice.
But we don't know what's coming after that, and it might be Grim Fandango in time for Halloween. Shit, that would rule. Okay, anyway.
Halloween.
Leslie, where can people find you?
People can find me at Vanetti on Twitter, Vanetti. I talk about all sorts of stuff, and it's all good and all fun. Sometimes I talk about how I met the entire cast of a show. If you feel like reading that, or if you feel like reading about the time that I tried to make my mom's tuna casserole out of the box from scratch, and then it tasted like it came out of the box, and I wasted my time.
Leslie is a storyteller at heart.
It's true.
No, literally. Like that's your because we used to joke about like you can follow my Twitter account. It's a lot of comics and all that kind of jazz. And you were like, I don't know what my Twitter's about. And the answer is your Twitter's about your life.
That's true.
But it's like told really well.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Like I mentioned, you can check out all of our work at infinitybreak.net. That's where we're telling stories our own way. We have a Patreon at patreon.com/infinitybreak where you can support this show for as little as $1 a month, but you get access to the bonus episodes that Leslie and I have started recording at the $5 a month level. Speaking of which, we are coming to the very end of our first season of Syndicated with Lesley and Ben. I know it's taken a bit for us to get here, but that's because we had like that delay at the very beginning of our season where we realized the show was not quite ready and we needed to workshop it a little bit longer. That being said, we're coming to the end of our first season. We're going to be switching over to adult animation soon. We only have one episode left of season 1 of Syndicated with Lesley and Ben. We have talked about a lot of things this season, from theater to hospitals to late night to retail. To fashion, and we are going to end this show by talking about soccer. So if that's any hint as to what's coming, there's really only one television show about soccer, so narrow it down.
The League.
Oh,
I got jokes. That's not about soccer. That's about American football.
You do. No, of course not. It does make me think about how many. Really, this season could have gone on twice as long.
Oh, sure.
There are so many workplace comedies we just haven't touched.
Well, I feel like we did a really good job and got a really good range. But let's not suck our
Absolutely.
dicks until we actually get to the last episode, because that feels like a good time to do that.
No, totally, totally. But even in this episode, like AP Bio came up,
That is true.
and all that kind of stuff. We're, anyway. But Leslie and I have just recorded two full length episodes, each about 40 minutes or so, that are up on our Patreon about Disney television and also uh, bad family crime guys. But in addition to that, we are going to be doing two more additional bonus episodes of this season that will be Patreon exclusive. Once again, $5 a month over patreon.com/infinity break before we switch gears over to adult animation, the land of Simpsons and Futurama and Tuca and Birdie and Bojack. 4 shows by 2 creators. Whoops.
If you just haven't gotten quite enough of your workplace comedy fix yet, get it on Patreon.
Get it on Patreon. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time with our final episode of season 1. We'll catch you later.
See you next time.